Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. Good day to our lecturer Dr. Faradiba and to our fellow classmates. So, for our analysis 3, our group will be presenting our discourse analysis on Nike advertisements. So for today's presentation, we will begin with the background of the study and the research questions. Then the data and data selection criteria will be presented. After that, we will move into the analysis of the 4 themes identified in Nike advertisements, followed by the findings, Islamic perspective, conclusion, and also the references. Advertising is not only about promoting products but also about communicating meanings, values, and ideologies. Through language, visuals, and representations, advertisement construct identities and influence how audience perceive both the brand and also themselves. Nike is selected for this study because it is one of the most influential global sports brands. Beyond selling sportswear, Nike is widely known for its strong advertising campaigns that emphasize motivation, achievement, determination, and self-belief. So this study is guided by 2 research questions, which is the first question asks what are the identities created by Nike as the discourse producer for themselves, and the second question asks what are the identities created by Nike for the consumers. So these questions will help us understand how Nike advertisement construct identity for both the brand and also its audience.
Next, I will be presenting the data and data selection criteria. For our data, our study examines 15 Nike advertisements that were selected based on 4 themes, namely women empowerment, athlete performance, diversity and inclusion, as well as lifestyle and motivation. All advertisements were produced by Nike and contain both linguistic and visual elements that allow us to analyze how identities are constructed. These advertisements were chosen because they represent clear messages, symbols, and representations that help us to understand how Nike positions itself and its consumers. Now let's move to the data selection criteria. The first criteria is that it is produced by Nike. This is to ensure consistency in the discourse producer and branding strategies across all advertisements. Moving on, the second criteria that it contains both linguistic and visual elements. The study focuses on identity construction through language and images. Advertisements must contain slogans, captions, taglines, or visual representations that function as identity markers. The third criteria is represent one of the 4 selected themes. This is because the advertisements were selected based on 4 recurring themes identified across all Nike's campaigns, which is women empowerment, athlete performance, diversity and inclusion, as well as lifestyle and motivation. The fourth criteria is relevant to identity construction. This is because the advertisements must portray values, beliefs, characteristics, or roles that contribute to the construction of Nike's identity and consumer identity. The fifth criteria is that it is published during the contemporary advertising era, which is 2021-2026, because recent advertisements better reflect current social issues, marketing trends, and contemporary consumer values. And the sixth criteria is that it is internationally accessible advertisements, because the advertisements are publicly available through Nike's official campaigns and can be analyzed within global social, cultural, and sporting contexts.
So now let's move to the analysis section. So one of the key recurring themes identified in Nike's advertisements is women empowerment. So in contemporary advertising discourse, women empowerment has become an important theme as brands increasingly emphasize diversity, equality, and also representation. And Nike frequently portrays women as strong, capable, and confident individuals who challenge limitations. So these are the 4 advertisements that we have selected for our first theme, which is women empowerment. And the selected advertisements reflect different expressions of the said women empowerment. For example, the first ad, which titled "One Day, This Day Will Be Our Everyday," highlights women participating confidently in sports, suggesting normalization of women in athletics. For the first research question, the first identity Nike constructs for itself is an empowering brand. Nike presents itself as a brand that encourages confidence, motivation, and perseverance. Instead of focusing only on selling products, Nike positions itself as a source of encouragement and inspiration. So this interpretation is supported by Postberg et al. We will explain that Nike advertisements frequently promote empowerment through messages of achievement and also resilience. So through this identity, Nike aligns itself with values of personal growth and determination. The second identity identified is Nike as a local reformer. Nike advertisements often challenge traditional expectations, especially regarding women's roles in sports and society. Instead of reinforcing stereotypes, Nike promotes independence, confidence, and participation. So this aligns with Postberg et al., who argue that Nike advertisements often engage with cultural and social issues affecting women. So as a result, Nike presents itself not only as a sports brand, but also a socially aware company that encourages positive change. The third identity is Nike as an industry challenger. Traditionally, sports advertising focus mainly on male athletes and conventional ideas of athletic success. However, Nike challenges these norms by increasing women's visibility and promoting inclusivity in sports. According to Adrian and Faiza, Nike uses progressive advertising strategies that challenge dominant narratives in sports media. So this helps Nike position itself as an innovative brand that reshapes expectations in sports advertising. So for consumers, the first identity identified is the self-made achiever, because Nike portrays consumers as individuals who achieve success through hard work, discipline, and determination. And achievement is shown as something earned through effort. So this finding supports Grow, who explains that Nike advertisements often associate consumers with achievement and also self-improvement. As a result, consumers are encouraged to view themselves as capable individuals who can reach their goals. The second identity identified is the defiant rebel. Nike portrays consumers as individuals who challenge limitations and reject societal expectation. Women are often represented as breaking stereotypes and proving their abilities despite obstacles. Thus, according to Grow again, Nike advertisements frequently encourage audiences to resist limitations and embrace individuality. And through this identity, consumers are positioned as confident individuals who shape their own paths. Finally, the third identity identified is the resilient every woman. So Nike advertisements often portray women as ordinary individuals facing struggles while continuing to persevere. So this makes empowerment feel more realistic and relatable. So this interpretation is also supported by Postberg et al., who highlights that empowerment discourse often emphasizes everyday resilience and perseverance. So overall, our findings show that Nike advertisements go beyond promoting products. They also construct identities for both the brands and consumers, particularly through messages of empowerment, resilience, and determination. Thank you.
My name is Shasha Zubaina binti Muhammad Zamuddin with the metric number 2317356, and I will be exploring the theme athletic performance throughout Nike advertisements 5 to 8. Now, I will discuss the findings for research question 1. Research question 1 asks, what identities does Nike construct for itself through its advertisements? The first identity that Nike constructs for itself is a motivational coach. This identity is evident through the use of motivational language, imperative statements, and direct engagement with the audience. For example, Nike frequently uses messages that encourage individuals to challenge themselves and pursue improvement. Visually, the advertisements features athletes actively training, competing, and pushing their physical limits. According to Ugras et al. 2024, motivation, passion, dedication, and commitment are an important component of athlete identity because they encourage individuals to perceive themselves as capable of growth and achievement. Nike reflects these characteristics by positioning itself as a source of encouragement rather than simply a sportswear company. In the context of modern sports culture, self-improvement and personal excellence are highly valued. Therefore, Nike adopts the role of a coach that motivates athletes to overcome obstacles and can continuously improve themselves. This finding is consistent with Ugras et al. 2024, who highlight the importance of motivation and dedication in shaping athlete identity. However, while their study examines these qualities from a psychological perspective, Nike communicates them through advertising discourse. Next, the second identity constructed by Nike is resilience. This identity can be observed through linguistic elements that emphasize perseverance and overcoming setbacks. Visually, Nike presents athletes experiencing moments of struggle, disappointment, and recovery. One example is the advertisement featuring Lionel Messi after Argentina's elimination from the 2018 World Cup. According to Dan Hartig et al. 2022, resilience in sport refers to the ability to positively adapt to challenges, setbacks, and stressful experiences. Nike reinforces this idea by portraying failure not as an endpoint, but as part of the journey towards success. This identity reflects contemporary sports culture, where resilience and mental strength are increasingly recognized as important qualities for athletes. Rather than glorifying only victory, Nike highlights the value of perseverance during difficult moments. This finding supports the work of Dan Hartig et al. 2022, who argue that resilience develops through exposure to adversity. Similarly, Nike's advertisements presents challenges as opportunities for growth and improvement. The third identity is a performance-oriented brand. Nike consistently associates itself with achievement, excellence, and competitive success. The advertisements contain achievement-focused language and feature elite athletes engaged in high-intensity sporting activities. These visual representations emphasize skill, discipline, and high performance. According to Vinyals Miraban and Lopez Perez 2035, athlete-centered advertising often associates brands with excellence, achievement, and elite performance. By using professional athletes and competitive sporting environments, Nike reinforces its image as a leading sports brand. From a social and economic perspective, performance is highly valued in both sports and consumer culture. Therefore, Nike positions itself as a brand that supports excellence and helps individuals achieve their highest potential. This finding also aligns with Vinyals Miraban and Lopez Perez 2035, who found that sports brands frequently use elite athletes to strengthen brand credibility and prestige. Moving on to research question 2, which examines the identities Nike constructs for its consumers. The first identity is the resilient athlete. Nike portrays consumers as individuals who are capable of overcoming obstacles and learning from failure. Through both language and imagery, the advertisement suggests that setbacks should be viewed as opportunities for growth and not as signs of weakness. According to Dan Hartig et al. 2022, resilience is a key characteristic of athletes because they frequently face pressure, challenges, and recovery processes. Nike reflects this perspective by encouraging consumers to remain persistent despite experiencing difficulties. All in all, it emphasizes resilience as an important factor in achieving long-term success. The second consumer identity is the determined performer. Nike constructs consumers as individuals who are willing to invest their effort, commitment, and persistence in pursuing their goals. The advertisements emphasize hard work and continuous improvement and not relying solely on their natural talent. According to Ugras et al. 2024, commitment, passion, and dedication play significant roles in athlete identity formation. Nike reinforces these values through messages that encourage individuals to keep striving for excellence. This reflects the belief that success is earned through effort and determination. Similar to the findings of Ugras et al. 2024, Nike associates achievement with commitment and perseverance. The final identity is the future champion. Nike uses aspirational language and images of successful athletes to encourage consumers to imagine a future version of themselves that is stronger, more successful, and capable of achieving greatness. According to Isik and Kasapoglu 2021, sports participation contributes to identity construction by encouraging individuals to envision future achievement and personal growth. Nike reflects this idea by presenting elite athletes as role models and symbols of possibility. In the context of sports marketing, aspirational messages are commonly used to inspire consumers. This finding also supports Isik and Kasapoglu 2021, who argue that sport can help individuals develop stronger identities through ambition, achievement, and self-development.
Hi, I'm Dr. Nabatishan Timopisa with my track number 311.78. So for my part of the presentation, I'll be analyzing the Nike advertisement 9th to 12, which focus on the theme of adversity and inclusivity. So basically, I will show how we identify the linguistic and visual indices and how does these indices help to reveal the identities constructed in Nike advertisement. Firstly, we identify the indices present in each of Nike advertisement. For the linguistic analysis, we examine the specific words, slogan, and syntactic structures that they use. For example, phrases such as "dream crazy," "be true," and "you can't win, so win," which function as linguistic indices because they signal values such as perseverance, authenticity, and also empowerment. We also analyze the grammatical patterns, particularly imperative structures like "be true" and motivational statements that position audience as the active agents capable of overcoming challenges. And not to forget the visual indices as well. This included the selection of the athlete representation of gender, their race, sexuality, body language, facial expression, the colors that they use in the ads, and also the camera angles. For instance, the repeated portrayal of female athletes breaking records indexes strength and resilience, while bright colors in the Be True campaign index LGBTQ+ inclusion and also acceptance. Then, we also look for recurrent patterns across the advertisement. Rather than analyzing each of these features separately, we examine how linguistic and also visual indices work together to construct the social meanings. So, from the recurrent patterns that we identified, we try to search for the dominant identities. Nike identities emerge consistently as they associate themselves with empowerment, diversity, and also social progress. For the consumers, the identities that are constructed through repeated messages that encourage the audience to overcome limitation, embrace their identities, and challenge social barriers. Therefore, the dominant identities were not selected based on personal interpretation alone. They were identified through recurring linguistic and also visual indices that Nike had used throughout times consistently in their advertisement and collectively reflected the theme. Now here's the advertisement that I've chosen. Let me introduce them briefly. The first advertisement is Dream Crazy featuring Colin Kaepernick. This campaign encourages people to pursue their dream despite criticism and also obstacles. The second advertisement, You Can't Win, So Win, focuses on women athletes and challenges the negative stereotypes that are often directed to women in sports. And the third campaign, Be True, was released in support of Pride Month and also promotes LGBTQ+ inclusion, authenticity, and also their self-expression. And lastly, Dream Crazier campaign, which celebrates women who challenge expectations and break barriers in sports and also society. Now, although each of these campaigns focuses on different social issues, all of them share a common theme, which is empowering individuals from diverse backgrounds and promoting inclusivity. For this advertisement, Nike constructs the identity of an inspirational mentor. Now, linguistically, the campaign uses motivational slogans and achievement-oriented vocabulary that encourage perseverance and determination. The language inspires audiences to continue to pursue their goal despite difficulties. Visually, Nike features diverse athletes and uses close-up shots that highlight efforts, dedication, and also determination. Many of these athletes have overcome significant challenges, reinforcing the message of being resilient. According to Hartman, influential public figures can inspire audiences to challenge social inequalities and pursue meaningful goals. This idea is reflected through Colin Kaepernick's role in this campaign. This advertisement was released during an ongoing discussion about racial justice and equality, allowing Nike to position itself as a brand that supports social change and also individual courage. Overall, Nike presents itself not only as a sport brand, but also as a mentor that inspires people to stand up for their belief and pursue their dreams. In this advertisement also, Nike constructs their consumers as fearless dream chasers. Through empowering and achievement-focused language, consumers are encouraged to dream beyond their limitation and challenge barriers that may prevent them from getting their goals. The visuals reinforce this identity by showing the athletes overcoming obstacles and achieving success despite adversity. As you can see, the images emphasize resilience, determination, and also persistence. Hartman explains that Colin Kaepernick's personal story serves as a powerful example of courage and perseverance. Through this representation, consumers are invited to see themselves as individuals who can also overcome these challenges. This campaign encouraged their audience to reject societal expectation and also continue striving for success. As the result, Nike creates an identity for consumers as courageous individuals who are capable of achieving extraordinary things when they believe in themselves. For the next advertisement, Nike constructs itself as a woman's empowerment advocate. The slogan, You Can't Win, So Win, uses constructive language to challenge negative stereotypes and criticism directed toward women. Instead of accepting this criticism, the campaign transformed them into a motivation. Now, visually, the advertisement features confident and successful female athletes competing at the highest level. The imagery highlights the strength, the determination, and also the achievement that they have. According to Nike, positive representation can strengthen public perception of women's capabilities and also achievement. This campaign was released during a period of increasing recognition of women's sports, allowing Nike to align itself with gender equality and female empowerment. Therefore, Nike positioned itself as a brand that actively challenges gender-based barriers and supports women in achieving success. In this advertisement, Nike constructs their consumers as resilient winners. The language used encourages audiences to prove Dr. Strong and remain confident despite criticism. The message is achievement-oriented and focuses on self-belief. The visual use strengthens this identity by showing women athletes breaking records, competing successfully, and overcoming obstacles. These images communicate perseverance and determination perfectly. Nike also highlights successful female athletes as role models, demonstrating that resilience can lead to achievement. This campaign addresses societal stereotypes that often discourage women from pursuing their ambitious goals. Instead of accepting its limitation, consumers are encouraged to challenge themselves. As a result, Nike portrays its consumers as individuals who refuse to be defined by criticism and continue to strive despite the challenges that they face to get success. Moving on to the next advertisement, Nike constructs itself as an inclusion advocate. Linguistically, the campaign uses affirming language such as "be true," which promotes authenticity, acceptance, and self-expression. The slogan itself encourages people to embrace who they are. Be true. Visually, the advertisement incorporates bright colors, LGBTQ+ symbolism, and diverse representations of identity and community. Now, according to Design Everywhere NNG, the Be True initiative emphasizes LGBTQIA+ inclusion and strategically uses creative elements to strengthen its message of acceptance. The campaign is closely associated with Pride Month and broader LGBTQ+ advocacy efforts. Through this advertisement, Nike positions itself as a brand that values equality, diversity, and inclusive representation. It demonstrates that inclusivity is not only a social message, but also an important part of Nike's identity. In the Be True campaign, Nike constructs their consumers as authentic self-expressors. The language encourages audience to embrace their true identities and promote confidence and self-acceptance. Visually, diverse individuals are portrayed positively and confidently, celebrating their own uniqueness and also their own individuality. These representations communicate that differences should be valued rather than hated. Nike also highlights LGBTQ+ voices within this campaign, giving visibility to communities that have been historically underrepresented. This campaign also addresses issues of representation and acceptance, encouraging consumers to feel more respected, more included, and more valued. As a result, Nike creates an identity for consumers as individuals who confidently express themselves and embrace themselves without the fear of judgment, being who they are. From this advertisement, Nike constructs their consumers as barrier breakers. This campaign uses empowering language that encourages women to pursue their ambitious goals regardless of criticism and societal expectations. Visually, women are shown breaking records, overcoming challenges, and achieving success in areas where they have traditionally faced barriers. Serena Williams serves as a powerful example of someone who has succeeded despite societal criticism and obstacles. Her presence really reinforces this campaign message that barriers can be overcome. The advertisement addresses discrimination and gender-based criticism while encouraging audiences to challenge restrictive norms. In conclusion, Nike portrays their consumers as individuals who are capable of redefining expectations, overcoming the barriers, and creating opportunities for future generations. That is all from me. Now I'll pass the floor to the next presenter.
Okay, so for my section, I'll be discussing on the fourth theme, which is the lifestyle and also motivation. So this theme focuses on how actually Nike advertisements construct identities through motivational messages and lifestyle-oriented representations. So in this section, we analyze 4 advertisements, namely advertisement 12 until advertisement 15. So to identify the identities Nike constructs for itself and for its consumers. These are 4 advertisements selected under the lifestyle and also motivation theme. So each advertisement combines persuasive language with powerful visual imagery. So common elements include motivational slogans, athletes facing challenges, images of achievement, and even Nike's well-known "Just Do It" philosophy. So by analyzing these advertisements, we can understand how Nike creates specific identities for both the brand and also its audience. So the first identity Nike constructs for itself is as a motivational coach or mentor. So linguistically, Nike uses motivational slogans such as "Giving up never won a medal" and "Everything is hard." Visually, athletes are shown struggling, training intensely, and overcoming challenges. So their serious facial expressions highlight perseverance and also determination. According to Norman Fairclough, Discourse helps construct social identities and also relationships. So through these advertisements, Nike positions itself as a mentor that encourages people to keep going despite all those difficulties. So unlike traditional advertisements that focuses on mainly products, Nike focuses on personal growth and also self-improvement. The second identity Nike constructs is a champion of success and also achievement. So the language used include words such as medal and first ever, which emphasize accomplishment and also excellence. The visual feature athletes competing and striving to achieve outstanding results. So based on Van Dyck theory, Discourse shapes values and also ideologies. So Nike therefore promotes the idea that success comes through effort, competitiveness, and also ambition. So rather than simply selling sportwear, Nike associates its brand with achievement and high performance. Next is an inspirational lifestyle brand. So the famous slogan, "Just Do It," plays an important role in creating this identity. So visually, Nike uses minimalist designs, strong black and white contrast, and lifestyle-oriented sports imagery. Kress and Van Leeuwen explains that images and text works together to create meaning. In this advertisement, Nike promotes a lifestyle of determination, confidence, and perseverance. So this means Nike is not only selling products, but also selling an aspirational lifestyle that consumers want to be part of. Moving to consumer identities, the first identity Nike construct is that the resilient fighters. So the advertisements contain messages such as "giving up never won a medal" and show athletes pushing through exhaustion and also hardship. The visuals include worn-out running shoes and athletes continuing despite physical and mental challenges. According to Bandura's self-efficacy theory, confidence develops when individuals overcome difficulties. So therefore, Nike portrays consumers as people who remain strong, persistent, and determined even when facing obstacles. The second consumer identity is ambitious achievers. Nike uses the statement, "I don't want first thing, I want first ever," to emphasize uniqueness and also extraordinary achievement. The visual images show athletes competing and crossing finish lines, symbolizing success and also ambition. So this reflects Maslow's concept of self-actualization, which is the desire to achieve one's highest potential. Nike therefore encourages consumers to view themselves as ambitious individuals who continuously strive for excellence. And the last one for consumer identity is empowered individuals. Nike uses motivational and confidence-building language, while the visual displays strong body postures, focus on facial expressions, and athletic imagery. According to Goffman's theory, people express their identities through symbols and self-representation. So Nike's advertisements encourage consumers to see themselves as confident, disciplined, and goal-oriented individuals. So as a result, consumers are empowered not only as athletes but also in their everyday lives. From an Islamic perspective, many values promoted in Nike advertisements align with Islamic teachings. So Nike encourages excellence and self-improvement, which relate to the concept of ihsan. The advertisements also emphasize resilience and perseverance, reflecting the Islamic view of Islamic value of sabar when facing challenges. In addition, Nike's representation of diversity and equality is consistent with the Islamic principle that all human beings are equal before Allah. However, Islam teaches that true success is not only about achievements and recognition, but also about faith, humility, and good character. So therefore, Nike's messages can be viewed positively as long as they remain balanced with Islamic values and also ethics. To conclude, our analysis shows that Nike advertisements construct strong identities for both the brand and also its consumers. Nike presents itself as a motivational, empowering, and inclusive brand, while consumers are portrayed as resilient, ambitious, and also confident individuals. Through the use of language, visuals, and also social context, Nike promotes not only products but also values, inspirations, and also lifestyles. So overall, identity construction is a key strategy that helps Nike influence how audiences perceive both the brand and also themselves. So I think that's all from our presentation today. Thank you.